Hey, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Let's get started. What we're going to talk about today is a natural approach to diabetes. Now, what I'm going to talk about is I'm not going to say what you're doing is wrong. I'm not against medicine or anything like that, but there are alternatives that you can include in your protocol, your treatment protocol, that oftentimes do tremendous things, great results, and most people are thrilled with the results. My goal is not to have you stop taking medication. My goal is to get you well enough so that you don't have to take the medication. People ask me all the time, Dr. Joe, what can I do to stop taking my medication? Blood pressure, diabetes, whatever it is. I say, listen, okay, don't stop your medication, but let's work to get you well. So let's first talk about what diabetes is. There's two types, type 1 and type 2. There's even a type 3, which affects the brain, but I don't know if I have time for that today. But type 1 diabetes, your pancreas, which sits on your left side, kind of near your stomach, doesn't produce enough insulin. Cases like that, you usually have to take insulin to stay alive. Type 1 used to be called juvenile onset diabetes. Now older people get it too. Type 2 diabetes is the most common one. So with type 2 diabetes, you're making insulin. You're fine with insulin production. What's happening is if I eat something with sugar in it, it could be sugar, it could be bread, it could be just about anything. My brain gets a message and says, hey, there's sugar floating around in the blood right now. We got to get this sugar, glucose specifically, out of the blood because glucose, if it's too high, can cause damage to blood vessels. So your brain sends a message to your pancreas and says, hey, pancreas, release some insulin and let's get that sugar out of the blood. So the way insulin works is insulin goes into the cells and the cell has a hole in it, like a keyhole. Let's keep it simple. The insulin goes in like a key, opens up the cell and allows glucose into the cell. So insulin actually goes in as a key. If you eat too much sugar or you produce too much insulin, the insulin keeps going to the cell and saying, open up, open up, open up. And the cell says, I can't open up anymore. If I let more glucose in, I'm going to gunk up the works. So the cell says, hey, insulin, I'm not going to let you in the keyhole. I become resistant to the insulin. That's the term called insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. So we don't want to become insulin resistant because now the cell isn't getting hardly any sugar, and now the sugar is floating around in the blood. So the body says, wait a minute, if I have too much sugar in the blood, I got to get it out of the blood. So the body says, what can I do with this glucose? I know what I'll do. I'll store it as glycogen. Glycogen is stored fuel. That's your extra gas tank. So glycogen is in your liver, it's in your muscles. And so once all the glycogen places are filled up, the body says, you keep putting sugar in, I don't know what to do with it. We got to get rid of it. We got to get it out of the blood. So first it goes into the cells. Glucose opens up the cells, lets it in. Number two, it gets stored as glycogen. If there's still sugar around, the body converts it into something called triglycerides and then stores it as fat. This is why sugar makes us fat. Pretty simple. So traditionally, if you have diabetes, we'll give you metformin, insulin, glucose-lowering drugs. And what we try to do is force the cells almost, like we give you insulin, to get in there and force those cells open to get the glucose out. That's one approach. Well, that's an okay approach, but it doesn't fix the problem. The problem is the insulin resistance. So what do we do about that? What can we do now? If you have high blood sugar, take your drugs. I'm not telling you not to take drugs. But let's talk about some proactive steps that you can take to help bring down that blood sugar. Number one, fiber. If I'm eating fiber, in fact, I love salads. I have at least a big salad a day. So I'm going to eat a salad with a bunch of stuff in there. It might have carrots, it might have olives, it might have, chickpeas, whatever. And the fiber in my salad is going to slowly push the food through my colon and give me a slow release of sugar. That's perfect because then we don't have this big glut of sugar and all this insulin being released at once. So fiber is going to be the key. Eating low glycemic index foods, foods that don't convert into sugar. So what would that be? Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, beans. So low glycemic foods should be part of your diet anyway, because low glycemic foods are usually the good foods. Now, not always, because let's say you have diet soda. Diet soda, low glycemic food, but very toxic to the body. In fact, I just taught a course earlier today on traumatic brain injury. What happens when the brain is traumatized on a cellular level? And a big section of the course I taught was on aspartame, aspartic acid, because aspartic acid excites the brain and can actually cause inflammation and swelling. But I'm not going to give you a lecture on traumatic brain injury today. So it's important that we keep that blood sugar under control. So high fiber foods are great. Exercise is wonderful. This is something I want everybody to do every meal. I'm going to ask for commitment here. When you move around after a meal, the muscles take the sugar out of the blood and use it because the muscles need sugar to run. So after a meal, go for a walk. Now, if you don't want to go outside, I mean, it might be a hot day, a rainy day, whatever, walk around your house. If nothing else, do squats. 20, 30 squats is enough to start driving that sugar out of the blood and into the muscles. So that's why it's so important to manage your blood sugar by doing something physical. When I wake up in the morning, my house faces east. So I like to go outside and I'll pull weeds. I'll walk around the lawn. I'll just see, pick up stones, whatever, just to give myself an excuse to get that morning sun for about 10 or 15 minutes. Because one of the things sun does, it takes glucose from your blood, drives it into the muscles. So it's another trick you can do. And also we need sun for many, many, many reasons. I won't give it a whole lecture on that today. Now, there are certain supplements that you can take that help stabilize blood sugar. And one of them is called berberine. Berberine in some studies works just as well as the drugs to lower blood sugar. So berberine is spectacular. Cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, Ceylon. Ceylon cinnamon helps stabilize blood sugar. So when you wake up in the morning, I take supplements every day. I think you should too. I take something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. I mix it with coconut milk or almond milk. I'll add drops of D3 with K2 in it. And then I'll add some cinnamon, some Ceylon cinnamon. Now, not only does it taste good, but the cinnamon stabilizes my blood sugar so I don't get a spike and a crash. So berberine is great. Cinnamon is great. Chromium, get that from a lot of nuts and seeds. That's great. And here's one, may surprise you, vinegar. Any type of vinegar. I like apple cider vinegar because it has more health benefits and nutrients in it. But vinegar can help stabilize blood sugar. So you can either drink it, which I don't like. I don't like tart foods. I like sweet foods. So you can drink it. I use it as part of a salad dressing. Because I have a salad every day, I'm going to make sure I add my vinegar to it. So we have berberine. We have fibrous foods. We have cinnamon. We have vinegar. So now we have, in fact, I have a supplement. It's called Dr. Joe's Glucose Guard. And it actually has a bunch of other herbs in it and supplements to stabilize blood sugar. In fact, I teach a whole course. It's about an hour and a half course on diabetes specifically, on causes and what to do about it. So there's a lot of good information there. So you want to make sure that you keep the fiber high, because the thing is too that things that don't have fiber are bad for us. Years ago, I remember giving a lecture and I was talking about nutrition and biochemistry. It's probably 40 years ago now. And I was talking about the food you want to avoid. And just evolution brought it just evolved into the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. The 7 foods you want to cut back or cut out of your diet. And those 7 foods are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Now, don't get nervous. If you're listening to this, you went, oh my, that's my whole diet. You're an idiot. I can't give up alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Let's negotiate. If you're going to do coffee, I recommend organic only. Coffee is the most highly sprayed food that we eat. Chemicals, pesticides, fungicides. So coffee is really sprayed. And when we roast it, we create something called acrylamides. And acrylamides are linked to cancer. So if you're going to do coffee, I recommend organic only so you don't get the pesticides and the chemicals. Artificial sweetener, we have Lohan, we have stevia, we have monk fruit, we have xylitol. So there's many substitutes you can use that are 0 calorie, won't spike your blood sugar, and they still taste sweet. But I'm begging you, please give up those artificial sweeteners. Aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin are the big ones. Please give those up. So every one I have, I negotiate with. Alcohol, of course, alcohol just does wonders to your blood sugar and your liver. Lowers your testosterone, by the way, too. But here's my thing. If you're going to eat or drink alcohol, because I'm a realist, I understand people are going to drink. I want you to mitigate the damage. I want you to have 3 glasses of water for every drink that you have. Because alcohol is a diuretic, it makes you pee, but also flushes out a lot of vital nutrients. So I tell people to take what's called a methylated B complex. Not a regular B complex, a methylated B complex. And methylated means it's in a usable form. Most B vitamins are not methylated, which means about 60% of us can't convert it into a usable form, and it doesn't do us any good. In fact, you could build up toxic levels of the unmethylated, let's say, folic acid. So a methylated B complex, 3 glasses of water with every piece of alcohol. If you're going to eat meat or dairy products, I recommend organic only. Because when I was a kid, you were a kid, we didn't have to worry about the steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, genetically modified food, glyphosate. It's a whole new world today than it was even 20 years ago. So I strongly advise, if you're going to eat animal products, organic only. Now, I choose not to eat animal products. I haven't had animal product in 40 years. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to just make better choices when you do. So alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, sodas. Soda kind of fits in all the groups. Artificial sweeteners are oftentimes used in soda. I really want you to stop that. Those things are just so bad for you. Because the artificial sweeteners, I can give you breakdowns of it, how it affects the hormones, and it can spike insulin, spike estrogen, and it can do damage to the kidneys, and so excite the brain. So just be careful with those foods, because they're very exciting to the brain, and many times when the brain gets excited, what do? You want to eat more. And I don't know if you're like me, but if I have anything sweet, even a piece of bread, you know what I want? More bread, more sweet. Because when I eat sugar, it stimulates a part of my brain, a nucleus accumbens or accumbens, depends on how you say it. And that part of my brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that gives you pleasure. So when I eat sugar, I want more sugar. I just got high from it. And that goes for breads and cookies and cakes and donuts and pastas as well. So once you start, it's really hard to stop. And I understand that. I get it. So the key is don't do it. And watch yourself. It's really simple. Next time you have a piece of bread, notice, do I want more bread? Next time you have a cookie, do I want more cookies? Next time I eat something sweet, do I want more sweets? The answer is probably going to be yes, because you're getting high from it. So that's why if you're going to do something sweet, or how about this? Even better. Next time you get a sweet craving, okay, I got to have cookies, got to have ice cream, I got to have something. I want you to have something sour first. Have a pickle. Have a little bit of vinegar. Have some lemon juice. And you're going to find that almost instantly those cravings start to go away. It's really a neat little trick I use with patients. And pickles are great, by the way. I know they're high in sodium, but as long as you're eating a good plant-based diet, you're getting plenty of potassium to balance that out. Side note on sodium, if you use salt, I want you to use air-dried sea salt, Celtic salt, Himalayan salt is pink. Sometimes it comes from China, has heavy metals in it. The best salt, if you had to pick one, is called Baja, B-A-J-A, Gold. Baja Gold is the best salt you could use. But Celtic salt is also very good because it has about 70 different minerals in it, aside from just sodium chloride, like table salt. I want you to also get something called potassium chloride. You can go to the grocery store, and it's in the salt section, and it's salt substitute. And potassium chloride, and mix about 50-50 potassium chloride to sodium chloride if you have salt issues or high blood pressure. And you'll be amazed how it actually can lower the blood pressure by using salt now, because the potassium helps balance out the sodium, and that's a whole nother lecture on kidneys, but it's just a neat little trick we can do. But when you start craving those sugars, I want you to have something tart or vinegary, and you'll be amazed how those cravings really start to go away. It's really neat. And when you start eating a high fiber diet, you're getting things like chromium, you're getting other nutrients, you're getting fiber, and so you're less likely to crave those sweets. Now, I crave sweets sometimes. I'm human. I get it. So have yourself a piece of fruit. Now, not fruit juice, fruit. Because if I do fruit juice, it's it has fructose in it, fructose and glucose. Glucose is the type of sugar my cells use. If I put fructose in my body says, I don't know how to use fructose. I have to convert it into glucose. Following, I'm getting a little technical here. The conversion of fructose into glucose happens in my liver. And as fructose converts into glucose, we create a waste product. And that waste product is called uric acid. Now, uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. Now, my background, I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition, certified in traumatic brain injury, BS in nutrition, retired dietitian. I've written 2 books. I host the largest, I believe one of the largest, if not the largest radio show in the world based in Atlanta, Georgia, on health and wellness. We have about 1 million followers on social media. So I've been on Dr. Oz's show. He's been on my show. So I teach this all day, every day. And so when people come to me and they ask me questions about health, I usually have a pretty good answer for them. And they'll ask me this question, Dr. Joe, I thought orange juice was good for me. I thought apple juice was good for me. It's not. Because when the fructose converts into glucose, uric acid is produced, gets in your joints, and it hurts. Uric acid lowers your body's production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation, your heart, your lungs, your sex organs, your brain. And as we get older, the nitric oxide levels drop. This is one of the reasons why old people have high blood pressure and young people don't. So if we could naturally increase our nitric oxide production, we can increase circulation, lower blood pressure, and help get the nutrients like the sugars into the cells. So I take a nitric oxide supplement. It's called Dr. Joe's Nitric Oxide Support, and it opens up my blood vessels. I take it. We have two kinds. We have a capsule, and a chewable. The chewable, you can do 2 chewables 3 times a day, up to 3 times a day. The capsules, I take 4 capsules one at a time, and it depends what kind of mood I'm in. But the chewables are even on sale right now, actually. But the chewables are great because they're fun. They taste like candy, and they're sweetened with stevia, so they kind of curb that sugar craving you have, and it gives you nitric oxide to open up the blood vessels, and that helps flush out the uric acid and the waste products and helps with pain management slightly. And there's a lot more to pain management than that. But I always look at everything I do. Is this going to be good for me or is it going to be bad for me? And if I'm drinking fruit juice without fiber, just the juice, that sugar spike is going to blow up, man, and it's not going to be good. If I eat an apple, as opposed to apple juice, the fiber is going to push everything through the colon, plus phytonutrients and other chemicals in there that help stabilize my blood sugar. So sodas, fruit juices, same thing basically when it comes to sugar. So think about water. Think about stevia. Put stevia in your water. I do it every day, actually. I'll do tea. In the summer, I'll do iced tea. I'll do stevia. I'll use monk fruit. Kind of depends what I'm in the mood for. And that really helps mitigate those blood sugar spikes. So I know they said we wanted me to talk about 20 minutes. So Ceylon cinnamon, vinegar, high fiber diet, berberine. There are supplements like and if you have any questions, by the way, you can send it to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. It says ask a question. I will answer you personally. But on the website, we have a glucose guard. It's a supplement, and I give that to people with blood sugar issues. The nitric oxide I take every day. I've got other supplements I take every day. But really, everything you eat, whenever you eat a meal, look at the meal and say, is this going to be the best choice that I can make right now? If the answer is no, don't eat it. If the answer is yes, eat it. And I'll give you a quick example here. Maybe you want to go out for Mexican food. I love Mexican food. When you go out for Mexican food, you can have chips. Those are off the list, by the way. Those are like just little chunks of potential cancer right there, but I won't give you that lecture. So I get a side order of refried beans, make sure there's no lard in it. I might get a side order of guacamole, some salsa, maybe some pico de gallo, and I could make myself a 3 or 4 or 5 layer dip, and I could just eat that with a spoon. Now, I know that sounds weird. Why not chips? Because the chips are so bad for you, and they blow up your blood sugar. So I'll eat something like that. So sometimes you have to get a little creative. Next week, I'm going to a concert. I'm going to the Barry Manilow concert. I love Barry Manilow. And probably be the last time I ever see him. And somebody gave me a gift certificate to a steakhouse right outside the arena, $150 gift card. So I'm going to go to the steakhouse for dinner, and I'm just going to look at the side dishes. I looked on the menu already. They have Brussels sprouts. They have broccoli. They have potatoes. Oh, one more thing. Gosh, I can talk for hours. If you're going to eat a sugar, a potato, rice, pasta, what you want to do is cook it, put it in the refrigerator overnight, eat it the next day or the next couple of days. That creates something called a resistant starch. And you're going to absorb about 50% less glucose or sugar than if you ate it fresh. So everything you eat as far as a carbohydrate should be a resistant starch. Always. Bread, you can freeze it. I don't recommend bread anyway. Freeze it, creates a resistant starch. Have some vinegar, have some cinnamon, have some the Ceylon cinnamon we talked about, the berberine. And now we have a whole protocol, given 20 minutes, on how to stabilize the blood sugar. And you're getting nutrients that you need too. That's pretty exciting. So I know I'm right at my 20-minute mark. So anybody have any questions?
Hey, Dr. Joe, it's Tom. Thank you so much from everybody over here at TY HealthSpan. You're doing a great job tonight, and yeah, we can tell that you would be willing to go. Just keep going, but unfortunately, we we can't do that all night. One question, several questions came up. Um, can diabetes type two diabetes be reversed? Actually, complete. In other words,
Make it go away. The answer is in
yeah.
many cases, yes.
Okay.
Type 2. Type 1 is different, but type 2, in
Yep.
many cases, we can certainly mitigate the damage and in many cases get people off their medication totally. So the answer is yes, in many
That's
cases.
awesome.
Mhm.
Um, looks like so we had talked about treating diabetes backwards as one of the things that were the
Mhm.
about during this particular talk
Right.
today. Um, would you maybe give us a quick description of what that means? I mean, you did a great job of outlining all the things we should be doing, but sort of if you could compare and contrast, the
Sure.
uh, the current sort of orthodox treatment versus the other approaches,
Well,
the
the
holistic
orthodox treatment,
approaches.
we're treating the symptoms. And sometimes we have to treat symptoms. I'm not against treating symptoms. But nowhere in the orthodox treatments does anyone ever say, listen, we're going to put you on a protocol. So hopefully we can reverse this and normalize blood sugar. No one that I know of has ever gotten off medications for diabetes. Okay. I have an infection. I take the penicillin. Penicillin kills my infection. I'm done. It fixed the cause. Diabetes doesn't work that way. High blood pressure doesn't work that way. Cholesterol doesn't work that way. So I always say, if you have to take the meds, take them, but let's put together the protocol, the supplements, the diet, the food choices, the water, the exercising. We put that all together. And in many cases, now we start getting better, and the patient goes back to their primary doctor and they say, hey, listen, what's my blood sugar look like? It's looking really good. What have you been doing? Well, I listened to Dr. Joe. He told me to do this, and this. Hey, listen, you're doing great. Let's reduce your medication or let's stop your medication. So every situation I deal with, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, whatever it is, I think we're doing it all backwards. We need to also get to the cause and not just treat the symptoms. And if we do that, most of the time we win. Sometimes we don't, but most of the time we win and the results are phenomenal. I had a lady come in, her name was Connie, and she came to me about 2 years ago and she said, my kidney function is at 28% and I'm going to die. I will do whatever you say. I'm too old. The doctors have given up on me. She's only in her 60s. So I got her on a protocol, supplement diet, the whole bit, specific supplements for kidneys. And 2 months later, I get a phone call and it says, my secretary says, Connie's on the phone. And I went, ooh, this isn't going to be good. And I pick up the phone. She goes, 52%, ha, 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 and hung up the phone. So her kidneys went from 28 to 52%. That was 2 years ago. She came in about 3 weeks ago and said, Dr. Joe, I'm no longer in kidney failure. My doctor doesn't understand how, because that can't happen. But I've been stable now at 52% for about 2 years, and I'm able to not be considered kidney failure. So incorporating orthodox medicine, ordinary medicine, with a holistic approach, the results are usually just off the chart. And why we're not doing this, I don't know. Another question?
Sure. In your opinion, what is the biggest roadblock for people making lifestyle change before onset of a diagnosis of diabetes or anything else for that matter?
I think comfort, because we're so used to things. We watch TV. You're not going to see a commercial for broccoli. You're going to see commercials for cookies and cakes and donuts and pastas and alcohol. My friends and these beautiful women in bikinis and these guys with these flat muscles, and they're drinking and they're on a beach and they're having fun. And thinking, I want to have that kind of fun. Well, that's not fun. That might be fun for an hour or two, but it's not fun long term. So I think it's about education, because we're getting bombarded constantly with sales pitches. I'm giving you a sales pitch too. I want you to eat healthy. But we don't go into this very, very often. So I think it's all about education. And that's why my podcast is Dr. Joe for the Health of It. Dr. Joe for the Health of It. And we put out 2 podcasts a week, and it's all this stuff going on and on and on. I've
Mhm.
been with my radio station now 17 years, which is like 10 lifetimes in radio. And, we have
So, and
followers.
it's okay if you want to mention it for our local audience, because it's mostly local tonight.
Yes, if you're
So
local, I'm on WSB Radio, which is the #1 talk radio station in the country. And my show's on Sunday evenings. Right now it's 8 to 10. I mean, I've done that time for years, but depends how old you listen, how old it is when you listen to this. But my website, drjoe.com, has all the information there. If you scroll to the bottom of my website on the bottom page, it says the Dr. Joe Show, which is a 2-hour show that I do live and I answer questions. And then it says the podcast, and the podcast is there as well. So on my website, Tom and I were talking before we came on, I've got about 4,000 hours of content. So there's tons of content. If you have any health questions whatsoever, send it to me through my website, drjoe.com. Like I said, I will answer you personally. I want to be your doctor. I want to get to the cause of your healthcare problems, not just treat the symptoms. And the more education, the easier it is to make these decisions, because I brainwash you or unbrainwash you, depending how you want to look at it.
Yeah, right. One question, you do seem to be a fan of stevia or stevia. One of the things that I've noticed about that is that they always seem to mix the stevia with something, and it's usually not something that's great. Some of it's filler, and sometimes they actually put in some other types of stuff to go with it. What do you recommend as far as that is concerned?
You could try to get the liquid stevia or pure stevia, organic stevia, because many times they mix it with maltodextrin, and maltodextrin will actually spike your blood sugar, ironically.
Right.
So that's why you want to do organic or liquid stevia. You're not going to get the maltodextrin. So.
Okay. Great.
And pure stevia is really sweet. If you buy it, you're going to go, oh my God, it's $50 a pound. This is crazy. A pound is like, it'll last you 5 lifetimes. It's so light. And I remember doing this when I first discovered stevia, I don't know, decades ago. You can just inhale near the stevia and you'll feel the sweetness just covering your face. I mean, it's so super, I think it's 300 times sweeter than sugar. So if you buy pure stevia, be very careful. We're talking pinches at a time, not tablespoons. It won't be edible. So.
They use filler for the weight, right? To give it some heft, right?
Right, because if I'm charging $50 for a pound or whatever it is, people aren't going to buy it.
Sure.
And if I'm charging $5 and it's mostly maltodextrin, well, I can buy that. I can afford that. So just be careful with that. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Well,
Dr. Joe, we don't have any more questions. I really want to thank you on behalf of everybody over here at TY HealthSpan for joining us this evening in Healthy Habits episode 4. Been a lot of fun. Learned a lot tonight.
Well, hopefully you'll invite me back in the future.